Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to Valorant News. Champions is just around the corner. The big news of the day, though, not just being the fact that the tickets for this event are sold out instantly to the dismay of many, especially local fans, but also the fact that many pros, including TenZ, are saying that the new Pearl map that's coming into replace Split is really not going to be the greatest map in this map pool by any means, and what that means for the way this event might indeed play out. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you are new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. Really helps out the channel. First of all, this from one of the players on Edward Gaming. Again, like these players, man, these names, I have no idea what I'm even trying to do to pronounce some of these guys. But anyway, the Edward Gaming guys, they're out there. Like, of course, the Chinese team that qualified for this tournament. Really excited to see how those guys will get on, right? Because, I mean, they made a great run. They didn't even lose a map at their LCQ, which was remarkable. So, looking forward to seeing how they play in their group, respectively. This just to mention because, of course, Ghost Gaming, they were a big talking point of the Stage 2 playoffs back in North America, because if they'd have won any single series that they played, they would have prevented Sentinels from getting to the last chance qualifier. As it turned out, of course, Ghost got double first rounded there, despite looking so good in the kind of the qualification matches. And, well, as a Proto says, the year is over, like whoever supported the Ghost team. Now, of course, given the fact that we now know that the franchise tier 2 scene is going to be better supported than I think a lot of us thought it would be, and Ghost actually have an opportunity, theoretically, despite if they don't get into franchising, which they won't, right? Like, you know, they can make it through franchising into the partnership league, effectively, by the Ascension tournament, right? We saw the format a few days ago. There's going to be 10 teams per league, but then there's going to be one team that will qualify through the Ascension tournament into 2024's league, I suppose. Ghost could be that team. So I wouldn't be surprised if Ghost actually either stick it out or they make a couple of changes. But like, as an organization, there certainly is still a chance for these guys to make it into franchising next time. The thing is, if some of their star players get offered spots on franchise teams, then they're obviously going to take those spots, right? And therefore Ghost as a kind of a team as it is presently aren't going to be quite the same. So definitely some big storylines to come over the coming days and weeks. This also, just to mention real quick, big news actually from Bodog, a report that he does with regard to an organization called esports. And this is really the thing about these organizations. Like, this is the point of franchising to an extent. And we saw this in Call of Duty, really, that like pre-franchising, there were many organizations that were very predatory. They weren't run particularly well. They wouldn't even pay their players. Like, their players would be getting scammed out of a load of money. They'd be owed an awful lot, and like then the org would just go bankrupt, and there was nothing the players could do to recoup their money. So the point of franchising to a certain extent is to only allow teams that actually have solid financials and are of reasonable stature to actually get into the franchise league, to make sure that players don't keep getting ripped off. Now, the fact of the matter is, the tier 2 scene the way it is, this probably is still always going to occur to some degree. But you know, even as he goes on to say that this esports team that just released their main team, they just said goodbye to their roster. Now, the organization is saying that it's pretty much Riot's fault because the money that they owe the players hasn't actually been played to them yet. Now, which might be true, but Bo actually goes on to say that really there's more to it than this, because not only is it those kind of those prize monies that hasn't been paid out to the players, but also unpaid salaries. Also, apparently they made a lot of promises, including a boot camp, they never materialized. So, I mean, yeah, not exactly the greatest thing in the world for this organization, but you know, these sort of orgs don't get into the partnership league, but they still can be, you know, organizing stuff in tier 2, and that's probably not going to go away anytime soon. Let's dive into then the franchising situation, because I mean, yeah, some beautiful new crosshairs I'm sure some of you guys are experiencing in the ranked queue as it stands. But yeah, a lot of the teams are out there already. Exec guys, they're here in Istanbul, the beautiful airport they arrived into, and even Ye says arrived in Istanbul, super hyped, even you know, commenting on the beauty of the airport as well. But yes, so OpTic, of course, they've done their boot camp in Poland briefly. Now they're out there in Istanbul getting ready to go for the event. But a major piece of news with regard to the event is this on the ticket side. This is honestly like kind of crazy. I have no idea really why they didn't protect against this better, or like you know, I've been talking the last few days really about the fact that they really haven't organized this particularly well, any of the events this season. But this one might go down as the worst if what is being talked about is actually the case. So the tickets were going to go live at this date and time. I think I talked about that yesterday. The tickets then were available, and some are saying that within about half an hour the tickets were all sold out. If I go to the website, we'll probably actually find this relatively quickly. So some of these tickets are still on sale. We can see on, you know, 9th, 10th, 11th or whatever. So the first few days there are still tickets available, but the final few days, 16th, 17th, 18th on the final weekends, all those tickets are sold out. So I'm pretty sure those tickets for the final weekend for the, you know, grand finals and stuff sold out practically instantly for this event. Now, this is what people were saying, that they sold out in half an hour, but some people said that they sold out within about 5 seconds or with about 2 minutes or something, because rumored to be scalpers, right, went along here and just bought all the tickets immediately, which I don't really know how you protect protect against that, but it didn't happen in the first couple of events of the season. But seemingly all the tickets are gone. A load of local people that wanted to actually go couldn't even get them because they sold out immediately, even though there's not 5,000 people that bought those tickets for the 5,000 seats in the venue. It's more like people have just, scalped these tickets and are trying to sell them on, and are now going through Discord, other private messaging methods to try and sell these tickets on, right? So this is crazy, honestly. Like, even this tweet, I think there was some account VALORANT final that's selling these tickets, and people have been reaching out, how much for 2 tickets to the grand finals? €500. Like, no thanks, right? Because these tickets were meant to be only, I think they were selling them for maybe the equivalent of about $7 or $8 or something, and now this guy, is trying to sell 2 tickets for €500, right? So, I mean, yeah, not good at all, because the whole point here was, in selling these tickets pretty cheap, is that a lot of locals would be able to actually go to this event, right? And now all of a sudden, like, people have just scalped the tickets really heavily and are now trying to sell them to international attendees. So, I mean, yeah, what an absolute nightmare, to be honest, right? Every single day that I've talked about something with regard to VALORANT Champions, I've talked about, okay, why is everything being announced so late? The venue could have been bigger, right? Because, look, at the end of the day, 5,000 tickets sold out immediately. Some of them would have been legitimate, some of them illegitimate, but I think they could have probably catered for way more than that at the Champions final. So there's been a few things wrong with this, and now this is kind of the final nail in the coffin in a way of even as Dalmon says right here, half the Turkish VALORANT community didn't even get a ticket, right? Like, if you're from Turkey and you wanted to go, now all of a sudden you've got to DM this VALORANT final account and try and pay €500 for a ticket, right? It's just not going to happen. So I wonder what Riot, if anything, will try and actually do about this to resolve the issue. But obviously it's not ideal at all, and hopefully they learn their lesson to at least some extent next season, right? But this didn't really happen for the first couple of Masters events, so maybe they should have seen this coming. But at the end of the day, it's just kind of one of these things that sometimes happens. So yeah, hopefully they deal with it going forward. Let's talk about Pearl then, because lots of talk about this map lately. Split, of course, removed from the map pool going into Champions. One of the key talking points, really, because many teams favoured Split an awful lot. They played Split a lot, right? We know teams like Fnatic, right? They always used to have banger games, FPX as well, on maps like Split. Some teams don't really like to play it so much, but I think generally the teams rather liked Split, and Riot said at the time when they made this decision that they spoke with the pro players, they spoke with the teams, and not exactly like everyone agreed, but then eventually people were pretty much unanimous, or like along the lines of they were pretty happy to get rid of Split and bring in this new map. Now, I think a lot of pro players, really, after this news was announced, were saying, hang on a second here, lads, like, why not Bind or these other maps that pros don't generally like rather than Split, that not only is a pretty well-liked map by the pros, but also is a map that delivers absolutely banging series. The amount of great overtimes we've seen on that map as well are pretty spectacular. So Split, anyway, is gone. That's a pretty big deal for some of the teams that really liked it in their map pool. And now Pearl is the new map coming in. Now, of course, the pros have got now a couple of weeks to try this map out and figure out whether it's actually any good or not. Now, babybay and, of course, TenZ, we'll see here in a second, aren't going to Champions, but they've, of course, played this map because you'd expect it to be still in the map pool for the start of next season. You've got to get some practice on it. But, I mean, yeah, TenZ especially says this map is just terrible. The sites don't make any sense. B side is just a complete mess. You can lock it down with one guy with a chamber, right, with a teleport. And then the A site, there's so many lanes at the back of the site that it's impossible to take the entire site. You just have to play for the post part. Like, it's just a bit of a disaster.
I really think Pearl is bad. It's pretty. I personally don't like it. Because every site, I don't like it because the sites feel like very not fluid at all. Like B, you just op B and you'll basically do like, you'll do so much with just like a chamber, having a trip right here and just opping. You have like half the map by yourself. And then going on to A, I don't know, it's like a spam fest. It's like really weird. You can't like push to the backside. It's impossible to take backside.
I mark 3.
So you have to like just plant and like play post plant.
Chamber TP'd off B.
I'm gonna walk in a B.
So like both sites are like pretty aids in my opinion, for their own reasons.
I'm gonna come with you.
This is what these guys are talking about, right? This, of course, is the B site over here. TenZ was kind of explaining it, but I mean, yeah, this really long section on the left, you just have one operator guy playing here or playing back here, and even, his chamber teleports can get him out to the middle of the map somewhere. Like, you can lock down this entire side of the map because middle is such a mess. And then the A site, I think that he makes a fair point, really, because you can't take the entire site here, really. It's incredibly difficult to get all the way pushed through because there's just so many angles to look at. You've got this way, you've got mid, then you've got the 2 back connectors. Like, unless you can push pusher all the way to their spawn, that's the only way you can cut off the entire site. So the only real way to play A is to try and get the spike down and play the kind of post plant from middle. And he talks about the flow of the map, right? It doesn't really make that much sense. Middle is, of course, a bit of a mess anyway. So yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of pro players and, of course, like casual players alike aren't particularly a massive fan of Pearl. It looks pretty, don't get me wrong. But, I mean, look, I don't think it plays particularly well. The design of this B-side as well, I think is an absolute mess, to be honest, as well. And it's one of these things that over time, it probably gets resolved to a certain degree, right? It's probably like they do in Counter-Strike. They will adjust things to the map. They'll change how the site is. They'll move some boxes around. They'll add a new alleyway here. They'll close off this alleyway or whatever, right? Over time. But of course, for Champions, we're going to get this version of the map that the teams have been practicing on. So look, who knows? Maybe some teams like it. Probably some teams don't. But it is going to be an important factor because teams that don't like it might just ban it every series, which means that their map pool will be weakened as a result. Teams that do like it will potentially have like an ace up their sleeve in a sense of being able to use this, map to pretty good effect. But I mean, yeah, most pro players don't like it at all. We're going to see how it plays at Champions, or if every team is just going to say, no, we hate this map and just ban it out every single series and we never get to see it anyway. But yeah, definitely intrigued to your thoughts on that in the comment section below. Just to mention this real quick from Willminder, he comes out with his kind of top rated players from the regional LCQs, like from all over the world. I mean, look at this. 3 of these guys are from the Edward Gaming team. Asuna from 100 Thieves, of course, they qualified, as did Bang, Scream, Yampy, and Furia player, crew as well. So yeah, lots of these players did end up qualifying from the various regions. Excited to see how they'll get on in just a few days here at the biggest tournament of the entire season. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit on the like button, tell us the YouTube gods, that's a good video, and as like you should see it as well, and I've grown the competitive Valorant community. Thank you as always, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.